What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Wrestling Hour right here on adfreeshows.com. First and foremost, our friends over at Ad Free Shows got to give love and respect to those boys and girls behind the scenes and doing their thing over there. It is Dave Sturchio. It is Josh Shernoff, fresh off a trip from God knows where. I mean, dude, you were just a world traveler over the last week. Are you recovered? You were a Florida family trip. You're back to Vegas, back to Florida, back to Philly. Jesus Christ, son. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm getting ready to fly out in about less than 48 hours to Indianapolis, Indiana for Square Circle Expo.
Dude, you
are looking forward to that. Yeah, man, this is fun. It's been a long time since I've been like on the road. You know what I mean? Like actually doing that stuff. So it's fun. My body is not having as much fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's great. I mean, listen,
cool, man.
You're getting your face out there. You got a lot of great footage from Wrestlemania week. We could say that over here. Wrestlemania.
Yeah, over here we can say Wrestlemania week.
Wrestlemania week was great. You had a lot of great coverage over there with GCW and the Collective. I've already reached out to a couple parties involved saying, how can Fight Factory Wrestling get involved in the Collective next year in New Orleans? Let's do this. Yeah. I was very inspired by the rundown and the show order and the production, GPW Productions. Oh my God, they made that shit look mint.
Shout out to Mike for lending me his phone charger throughout the weekend as well.
Would you forget your phone charger, bro? It's like forget.
I didn't forget it. I had it like in my room and stuff like that, and then I had the little gimmick, you know what it is, the portable charger thing. And man, it just was not. I was using so much juice. Mike needed to give me a little more. So it's good.
Now you're not even a drinker or much of a partier out there. So It's like, were you just like business as usual, back to the room, business as usual, back to the room? Like you didn't get to do anything? Like did you go to any after parties? Nothing?
Nope, did not do anything. The only one I would have attended.
Listen, your wife doesn't watch the show. You could probably just tell me if you went.
No, the only one I would have done would have been I would have gone over and partied with the major pod guys and the Boy Meets World crew. But I was working Bloodsport.
Opportunity.
I know. I text Cardona the next day and I'm like, dude.
Like you don't
He's like, it was wild.
Like people don't understand. I'm obviously, part of the MyFandom YouTube channel, which this show will be on tomorrow morning as we're recording this, but I'm a part of that channel, so I can see, obviously, without being a creep, I could see like some of the search history or the videos that channel has watched, not necessarily have posted. There's plenty of times that I've went on there to either upload a video or do something, and there would be Boy Meets World videos that are saying like recently watched. So I know that Josh is a huge fan. He's like
I'm not sure who's watching the Boy Meets World videos.
Well, maybe it's your brother. I don't know, but in any event, there has been some search history of Boy Meets World clips on your YouTube channel, which is hilarious. Listen. I'm peeling back the curtains here. Somebody out there.
I will if I'm scrolling through and I see a Boy Meets World clip or something. I'm all in. I'm watching it. So I'm not embarrassed to say.
No, I'm not trying to embarrass you.
I don't watch it. I won't watch it on YouTube. See, here's the thing. For me, I will use a streaming device, or I will usually when I see any of them, it's like they'll pop up in my on Facebook or something with like a little short thing. I'll be like, oh, I remember that episode. Boy Meets World.
Do you know for up until right now, 2025, we watched that show in the 90s, and it is one of the greatest shows. And I promise you, this is a wrestling podcast. But this is I watched that show so much in the 90s that I still to this day in 2025, when anybody ever says rolls like bread, I always say they want you to take the rolls. Like I don't know if you remember that episode.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Corey Matthews to this day.
Who,
by the way, has turned his back on the entire cast. You piece of garbage, you.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I'm like stumped here because the last thing my brother is doing is logging into our YouTube. That's what
maybe it's like a default thing. Maybe it's just a default channel that he's on. I don't know.
I'm just looking at it. I'm trying to think who else is attached to our thing. Again, I'm not ashamed to say I'll watch Boy Meets World. I'll watch Girl Meets World. I don't give a shit. I'll watch all of it.
I did dabble in Girl.
I don't remember looking at it on YouTube.
All right, well, I'm just letting you know. I'm just telling you that
the stuff I'm ashamed of, I'm not watching
no, not at all.
YouTube.
My fandom's YouTube channel has contributed to the algorithm known as Boy Meets World. But anyway,
I'm gonna look into this. You know what I'm starting to think? I'm starting to think it's all you watching Boy Meets World.
Well, no,
nonstop.
there has been a couple videos that I've like tuned into, like a live video, like either like the McAfee show or like a Dallas Cowboys draft show or something like that I'm watching.
Yeah, lots of different stuff I've seen.
And I'm like, oh shit, I'm on the wrong channel. I should probably jump on back over to like Chop Sports Media or something like that. But sometimes I'm just like, fuck it. What are they gonna do? I'm like, don't you dare be searching that Dallas Cowboys shit on my channel.
That's the other thing, though. Now that you mention it, I am not logged in on my phone to the MyFandom YouTube. So we're really peeling back the curtain here.
Wow.
I've got 2 apps on my phone. I've got the YouTube one and I have YouTube Studio. YouTube Studio is logged into MyFandom so that I can upload or whatever it is. My regular YouTube is not logged into that.
Listen, guys, I know you
got to get to the bottom of this, folks. I don't know what's going on.
This is riveting.
I'm diving deep into our search history,
the rhythms, the algorithms. Anyway,
wrestling.
We're coming
wrestling. While I look up our search history.
Yeah, we're coming off a absolute amazing week and weekend of professional wrestling. WWE Wrestlemania 41 in Vegas, to me as a whole, delivered. A lot of rumors about the crowd and the attendance and this, that, and the tickets and all that is true and fair as far as pricing, being a little astronomical for the average common fan to be there.
Insane.
Which I got to find out what that green guy in the front row does for a living. He must have hit the lottery at some point that nobody knows. He's at every fucking PLE, every single one, dead center, dead red. It is. It's kind of.
But you know what? I remember talking to. Okay, hold on.
No, nobody's ever asked him. Like, hey, how do you do this? Like, that's a lot of money. Like, it's 1 month. Once a what?
I'm scrolling back here because I don't know what you're thinking you saw.
Maybe
yesterday someone was watching Pat McAfee.
Guilty.
Whole lot of Fight Factory and Pat McAfee on here, but I'm gonna go back even further.
Oh no.
Here's some Dallas Cowboys.
All right.
Here's some more Dallas Cowboys.
This is all accidental by accident.
We are now back in March.
Okay.
And all I'm seeing is some some shit about the Dallas Cowboys. I'm seeing Jimmy Palumbo. I'm seeing Fight Factory.
Listen, as long as you don't see anything like how to get rid of a body or anything like that, it's like a how-to video. We're all good. We are all good. So yes,
here's my point. And you stumped me. And again, I will watch Boy Meets World all day, every day, if given an opportunity. But here we are back in February, and I have yet to see a Boy Meets World on here.
I'm just saying, man. I've seen it once upon a time.
Listen, again, this is not coming from a place of shame. I'm happy to say, if I see a Boy Meets World thing come by, I'm watching it. I am stopping and watching it, no matter what it is.
Totes. All right, let's get let's get into.
But we are now in 2024 in the year of your Lord, and and there has not been a single Boy Meets World. We got Triple H getting a haircut. Look. So anyway, I'm just calling shenanigans on this whole Boy Meets World thing.
The Triple H haircut video. I literally told my barber, I'm like, yo, man, can you just make the beard kind of look like this? And I would show him the video. That's so funny.
I'm just saying, we're back in November.
No, there's no shame.
And there's been no Boy Meets World whatsoever.
All right, maybe, you know what? Maybe I dreamt it. Because I like Boy Meets World that much. Maybe it was in my dreams.
So do I. Great, one of the greatest shows ever on television.
I think so too. And Mr. Feeney is an actual living legend, and everybody knows it. All right, so
he
WrestleMania
to the Shernoff Awards.
Yes, I'm well aware. I know. See, obsessed much. No,
absolutely. Listen, we have never been debating whether or not I have watched Boy Meets World or watched clips from Boy Meets World. I'm just saying I've never watched them on YouTube. That's all I'm saying.
All right, done, settled. Maybe like I said, maybe I just dreamt it, or I don't know. Whatever the case may be, this is all Sean Hunter's fault. Anyway, so WrestleMania comes and goes. We get the Raw after Mania, which was just bonkers. Josh, there's a lot to peel back. But if I have to start with the most highly debated thing, obviously, right now. And that's the main event, night 2, John Cena, Cody Rhodes. Now, I went into this thing thinking, you know what? John Cena's got a shot, right? John Cena's got a shot to break the record in front of the history, make history in front of the crowd, blah, blah, blah. Josh, yes or no, and elaborate. Did you agree with the finish of this said main event that they've been building for 6 weeks?
The finish in the sense of who walked out, the winner?
No,
or how the finish happened.
How the finish happened. Would you have liked to see more? Would you like to see less? Like what would you how would you put your creative hat on? How would you have dialed this one up?
So first and foremost, I love that John Cena's champion. That is how I would have had this end. I would have had him walk out champion. I didn't like putting my creative hat on and my business hat. I like Travis Scott being a part of it. I think anybody who does not understand what they're doing here, does not understand business. Do you have any idea how many millions upon millions upon millions of eyeballs watched a clip?
It got to 1.1 billion, like billion views.
There you go. So that's what I'm saying is,
right.
You're talking about how many billions of people, over a billion people watched a second of WrestleMania. In my mind, without having those statistics in front of me, I'd have to imagine that 1 second that maybe somebody watched on a video before turning it off, even like I do on the Boy Meets World videos on YouTube. Even just 1 second of that has got to be the most viewed clip of a WrestleMania of all time. Like it's at least in the shortest amount of time. So to me, I don't fault them for having Travis Scott get involved. I think a little pep in his step would have been helpful.
I was just going to say, if he just got there a little faster, it would have made more sense, because there's nothing worse than watching a guy like Cody Rhodes, somebody who's supposed to be this strong champion of champions, lay on the mat for like 3 minutes as Travis Scott made his way to the ring.
The other thing is, I don't feel like we got the Cody that we needed to see. We did not get the Cody from WrestleMania 40. We did not get the Cody from WrestleMania 39, even though Cody lost at 39. I mean, I felt like the pacing was so slow in the match, and I get what Cena was doing. He was kind of going for this no frills. I'm gonna, keep the pace slow. I'm gonna do whatever. It didn't work for me in that way. I think we can look at it. Look, we can you and I still get worked? Absolutely. And that's honestly the best part of still being a fan, right? Is like, that's what I want to see. But so some people will go like, oh, well, he's a heel. You're supposed to be angry at him. I wasn't like angry at him. I was just bored. And that is not what they're going for. So
no,
to me, I found the main event to lack, ruthless aggression. It did not have any aggression. There was I didn't see any fire in Cody. I didn't see any anger in Cena. I would have loved to have seen Cena go to another level where they looked at it where Cena's like getting angrier and angrier. I would have loved to have seen the STF
a la Stone Cold Rock, when he just started just wailing on him with the chair, just that aggressive. Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen where John Cena in the beginning is playing with Cody. Like, dude, you're not on my level. You never have been, never will be. And then all of a sudden that switch flips.
Right.
And it's, oh shit. I think this guy might actually be on my level. Crap. All right. Plan B. I'm going to go beat the shit out of him with a chair or something. That's what I would have loved to have seen, because then you walk away still looking at it going, John Cena is the greatest of all time. John Cena, if he had to turn it up, he could turn it up. But you get to see a little bit of that cockiness, and you get to see that even through him not wanting to admit it, now we've all seen, hey, we're all looking at what John Cena's looking at. And that's that Cody Rhodes actually can do this. Cody Rhodes is actually on your level.
Do you
and
think
then I would have seen a Travis Scott interference and stuff, but
do you think there's any, I mean, look, this is like legitimately hypothetically speaking, or at least taking an educated guess. Do you think there was any part on the real side of things where Cody just didn't agree with how things were about to play out and he just kind of mailed it in? Do you think Cody Rhodes would have mailed in a performance knowing that, like, you're telling me you're going to put over John here, and this is, and John, and the way I go down is a belt shot, and that's it, and we're all at 1, 2, 3, it's over. Like, the guy kicked out of 17 spears last year. You know what I mean? Like, this feels like it was almost like, all right, like almost like Michaels versus Hogan, when you knew that Hogan was like, Michaels was flopping all over the place, being a jerk off, but he just knew, because like, is there any real scenario where Hulk Hogan could beat Shawn Michaels in a wrestling match? No, right? So that's why Shawn took it that way. Would he do that to John Cena here?
I don't think so, because I think Cody is Cody's a pro's pro.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cody is a guy who has enough trust in the company at this point. I mean, the dude held the title for over a year. Okay. And I know Roman Reigns held it for like 15, but like outside of Roman Reigns, I mean, when was the last time someone was world champion for like a year? And maybe they had been. I'm just not thinking about it. But like, it doesn't feel like that happened a lot. Maybe I'm still hungover from the Attitude Era where it was every 20 minutes. But like,
right,
to me, it's like, listen, man, like, there's no question that they're behind Cody. There's no question that this is a storyline. They did not go, oh, we're going to get rid of Cody and now John Cena's our main guy in our company. Like, no, like, we get, first of all, Cena's retiring. We know that. Like, and then you also look for real behind the scenes, the respect that Cody has and has always had for John Cena. And I don't see. And now to see where we're going, that we're going to get Cena and Orton and Cody, the last person Cody's going to stand back and go like, oh, no, I don't think Randy deserves that spot. Like, no, come on. Like, that's so to actually, me.
That leads me to another question. Now Cody Rhodes loses the championship. We already saw who was next in line. We're going to get an Orton Cena feud for the first time ever, Orton's the face and Cena's the heel, which has never been a thing.
Perfect.
I love it. I love
and
that.
Not even just face and heel. This is what we're getting into and this is where it becomes fun to be a lifelong wrestling fan, because you're getting into stories that you cannot look. I don't care how much you love, Damian Priest, right? You can't get a Damian Priest versus anybody with a 20+ year history. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what you get. This is the thank you for being a fan for so long. And these guys,
just imagine the footage you're gonna get and the clips and the stuff that you've seen
going back to OVW.
Right.
You're gonna see clips of them wrestling. Randy Orton on the prototype in OVW. And that's I mean, and that's where
shout out to Orton. Shout out to Orton for rocking his original OG gear, by the way.
Dude, the second he walked out.
Same.
I'm like, and I'm bringing up pictures to show my kids. And my kid, you know what their reaction was? That was Randy Orton?
Yeah.
I mean, because
somehow
Randy Orton, it's not like he was any shorter back in the day, right? Like, I get that he is a monstrous human being right
He's
now.
Filled out, Josh. He's filled out.
He is absolutely filled out. But somehow, I remember when he debuted and you're like, here's this new young high flyer with his cross body off the top rope. Like, and now you look at you go like, how was Randy Orton ever even considered this like small guy?
Do you remember
crazy in wrestling? Like,
do you remember this? Do you remember this one promo with Randy and Vince? And Vince was just berating. He was just basically like, "Look at you. You're not a look at you. You're not even." Do you remember that promo?
How skinny, saying his like neck was skinny, and
Randy Orton was like 110 pounds soaking wet. Like, I don't know if he was coming off injury and he just stopped lifting or whatever. He was this little person, and now Randy Orton is a unit of a man. Like,
Randy Orton makes the ring look small. Like, I'm not kidding.
I know,
because when you see like an Omos, I think you're mentally, your brain adjusts to go, well, of course everything's going to look small. It's Omos. He is not human like, right? Like he's on different, it's the same with like the Big Show and stuff like that, right? Like you see even Undertaker and Kane,
Giant
a Giant Gonzalez, right? Where you look and you go, these guys are just, they're like not even human. Orton looks like a human being, looks like a normal person. I mean, obviously a jacked normal person, but then you're just like, why is he so big? Like he's so freaking big. Like I'm just, I don't know. Like I look at the guy and I'm like,
no pun, he's evolved. Right, he is evolved. He's really has evolved.
And that man makes me want to go to the gym and figure out how to get that big. But the only thing is, I'm not going to be that height. So no matter how, if I had the equal,
teach that.
No, exactly. Because if I went to the gym and I got myself the exact same comparative muscle mass, right, to my size as hit, right. So comparatively, I built myself to that same muscle mass, that same body fat percentage, which I think is, on a good day is 4 and for him. And then, then when he eats a lot of Nutella, it goes up to 8. But I think, like looking at it, I feel like I would just be like one of those who were like I would look like the Oompa Loompa kind of,
You would look like the Dynamite Kid or like a Benoit.
Yeah,
or like, you know what I mean? Like,
I would not have the appearance of just this massive human being. Like Randy Orton is just.
And again, we say it all the time. Since Triple H and company have taken over on every regard, meaning like not only just creative but production as well. You hear the crowd start to come alive, and you're like, is somebody just walking down the ramp? And then you just see Randy Orton's face, just like, hello, old friend. And it's just like, oh, baby, like we're about to get something good.
If we can take a jump back a night, Randy Orton, open challenge. We got to talk about
his name, man.
I am like, okay, it's going to be Rusev. I'll have to explain to my kids what this is. And, which by the way, Rusev looks like $1 million, exactly where he belongs. I'm excited to see. After seeing, I will say, some of the best stuff he ever did, in my opinion, creatively, like promo wise, was Miro. Where you talk about his hot, flexible wife and, like all that, like the dude was just, you saw a side of him. What's that?
She's next to come back. I think they're going to put them together.
But you saw a side of him where you were like, okay, he doesn't just have to be this brute, this big, angry. Like, so I'm really excited to see what this version of Rusev can be. But going back, yes.
Small tweak. Mm-hmm. Can we get the old music back? Can we get the
Rusev
Mafia? And like that, if that would have popped, people would be like, no, right? But now this new, slow, methodical, and then you just see his name and you're like, okay, if they were to play that old song, I think people would have got a little bit more jacked up. That's just me.
I agree. I agree completely. I want to let it play out because, like I said, maybe they don't want that Rusev, maybe they don't want that, like, you know what I mean?
Where they're going.
They're trying to go in a different direction with them. So,
right.
What I've learned at this point, and don't get me wrong, I mean, the music, I don't care for it at all. But don't get me wrong. I'm not a fan of when they change up the music. I like, what I like. But at the same time, I feel like so many people are still so critical of everything WWE does. And it's like, I think you tweeted out something like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but pretty much just like, in essence, going like, we still gonna question WWE here? Like,
that was me. Yeah.
Right. Like are we still
was up in arms on WrestleMania night 2, and then Raw after Mania happens, and that finishes the way that finishes, and we'll get into that in a second. But like, I'm like, can you all just take a step back now and let them do their job because they're kind of good at it?
But
what are we doing here?
I also saw, and this is my favorite thing to see on the cesspool of a timeline that is Twitter or whatever. I see like your thing of just like, are we going to keep questioning WWE because they're knocking it out of the park, right? And then immediately below, this is supposed to be the Raw after WrestleMania. This is the worst. And I'm just like, what the fuck do you people want? Like that is my, I'm not going to go put on my red glasses and flip out here. But I do want to know, what do you want from WWE?
And
First
you know what?
all,
and Josh, those people, they can't answer that. They don't even know. They're just like,
you know what they want? They want something to bitch about. And I think the better it gets, the angrier they get. And that's what I'm talking about. I do want to go back to Joe Hendry in a second, but everyone's shitting on The Rock. Well, The Rock couldn't show up for WrestleMania. Fuck you. Rock couldn't show up for WrestleMania. He's The Rock. That man's got shit to do.
And he's the reason why you got this main event.
And guess what? If he showed up at WrestleMania, those same people would go, "Oh, fucking Rock has to put himself in the main event of WrestleMania."
I literally
and
said that.
And
I said that too.
Yeah, like, first of all, it's The Rock. Shut up. It's The Rock. That man, the mere fact that he is as involved as he is in 2025, when he is the biggest movie star in the entire world, and he is as involved, and oh, by the way, he's not even being a whatever the hell, a nostalgia act. He's completely reinvented himself
again,
which is something that is like impossible for someone who has reached his level to then be able to completely reinvent themselves. And it's like, I don't know. It's so frustrating. I hate though that section of wrestling fans so much. And we've talked about this, Dave, that, I watch with my kids. You're watching with your kids now. Your daughter's not afraid anymore. And which is awesome.
I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it.
But like, the more and I will tell you this, the more you watch it with your kids, the more you get to just be a fan again. And the more you get to see when you sit there and go like, well, in the back of your mind, you're going, that was kind of, I maybe would have worked the heat a little bit more in that match, whatever. And you're looking at them and they're not thinking that.
Right.
They don't give a shit. They're looking at it
in this larger than life moment, and they're like, whoa.
And you're just
the
like,
fireworks and the promos and the this and the pyro and all this stuff. That's what they're fascinated about. And like you said, to what you said about The Rock, he was on Pat McAfee yesterday and he explained everything. He said, look, man, like, I want all of this to be now on John Cena and Cody Rhodes. I kind of built this what it was. I took the soul, this, that, and the third. Can we go back to that? Yeah, we can go back to that whenever we feel fit. But right now, let's focus in on these two guys. Let them kill each other in promos. Let them do their job. And again, he even said there's a couple things he would have finessed a little bit differently in the main event. We all agree with that, right? We all agree with the fact that, like, yeah, Travis Scott took 3 months to get to the ring, right? It felt like a Sandman entrance from ACW. It felt like that, but it's like, let it play out. To me, when you hear that music, right? The crowd went nuts. Original pop, right? They're like, oh, right? Cena has this diabolical smile on his face, like, here come the reinforcements. It's because it was just Travis Scott that people are bitching and moaning. Now, again, like you said, if The Rock came out, they'd be like, this son of a bitch, he made it all about himself again. You know what I mean? Like, he literally set the stage for them to do whatever the hell they wanted to do. And they did it, and they pulled it off, right? And Cody gets his receipt on Travis Scott, and that time enough allows Cena to kind of rebuild. You know what I mean? Like, there is a finish there.
I would have liked Cody to punch him.
I would definitely.
If I'm being honest.
And you know what? I think if you look back at the crossroads, I think he planted him on his face, and I think it was a nice. I think it was
safe.
I think it was safe. Yes, he's not trying to hurt anybody, but I'm saying I think he definitely delivered. To an extent.
No, I don't think he needed to. I don't think he needed to give him a receipt because Cody's a pro and understands.
I get it.
What happened there. And
you know what? He's probably instructed.
By the way, do you have any idea how many more eyeballs again got on Cody Rhodes? How many more people have said the name Cody Rhodes because Travis Scott busted up his eardrum?
Part of their plan, man. It's all part of the plan.
But I just would have liked for Cody to, considering Travis Scott did smack him in the face, Crossroads isn't the receipt. And you're telling me Cody Rhodes couldn't work a punch? Come on. Like, maybe Travis Scott couldn't work taking a punch. And that was
I guarantee you, like, the safer visual is the Crossroads, right? If you punch Travis Scott and he just kind of fades back but doesn't bump. Like, what are we doing?
Also, in fairness, it's you're putting it more into you got to talk about the street cred, so to speak, of a Travis Scott, right? Oh no, he got punched. Oh, you got dropped by one punch by that fake wrestler guy. It works much more. Travis Scott was involved in a wrestling move. He's doing, you know what I mean? So I get it. I do want to say two things. I want to get back to the Orton and Joe Hendry thing, but I do
because that's another. You know what? We'll get back to that simply because there's also another part of the fan base that I want to punch in the mouth. Because
cool,
yeah.
And then, but the one thing I do want to say, which is jumping forward to Braun Breaker now being a part of this new faction with Paul Heyman, with Seth Rollins.
You mean the Dangerous Alliance like 2.0?
I feel. Here's the thing, man. Like, to me, no one is ever going to be better than Bobby Heenan, in my opinion.
That's fine.
Because Bobby Heenan is Bobby Heenan. That to me, I can't, you can't just go, that would be like, you're incredibly religious, but you go, I'm thinking of looking into a new God. This one seems pretty good. So Bobby Heenan is the GOAT. Bobby Heenan, greatest of all time. However, I can't even say 1A is Paul Heyman. Whatever comes between 1 and 1A is where Paul Heyman is sitting. And this like kills me. As a manager, in that role, I'm going to say Bobby Heenan. Man, this is so goddamn tough because Paul Heyman is so.
Well, we said it on the Fight Factory podcast last week. We were all in agreement that Heyman was better and is better. Like, it's just like, because listen, I think it's a generational thing.
I don't want to say, right. Like, I don't want to say
for the time that Heenan was there, wrestling was larger than life people.
Let me put it this way. Right. Let me put it this way. Bobby Heenan, Paulie Dangerously. There's no question Bobby Heenan is better. When you look at that time period in the 80s and 90s.
That I can get behind.
Bobby Heenan, in that time period, Bobby Heenan is better. We will never know what Bobby Heenan could do in today's wrestling. Right? So we're not even going to compare anymore. What I'm going to say is Paul Heyman is the greatest of all time.
Hold on. I got a decent comparison here, or at least a decent point to make. Is Paul Heyman, like you just said, we have no idea what Bobby Heenan would have been in this generation of wrestling, right? Is it so hard pressed to say like Paul Heyman is what Bobby Heenan would have been in this generation? Does that make sense?
Maybe. I mean, but Paul is so genuinely him, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it's hard to even. It's like, for instance, I've been compared to Bobby Heenan with the stuff that I've done on commentary, with things like that.
Right.
Which is both the greatest compliment I could ever get, and also something where I go, well, that's all well and good, but the people who know me for real, they know that I'm being me turned up. That am I influenced by Heenan? 1000%. Absolutely, I'm influenced by Bobby Heenan. But if you know me, or even if you just watch this show, you know enough of my personality to know that I'm turning up who I am in a lot of ways. So there's a part of me that sometimes looks at it and goes, how can I deliver that less Heenan-like? Because how can I start? And that's what I've done a lot with not to make it all about me, but that's, a good way to be. But when I do those promos, when I'm putting over like Danny Moff and I'm doing stuff like that in those promos, I don't think you could compare those promos to Bobby Heenan. I don't think they're, and I'm certainly not saying they're better. What I'm saying is like,
they're different.
They're different. And right. I try because I'm trying really hard to be me. And that's where we talk about this comparative thing of Bobby Heenan and Paul Heyman. And I think the reason we all kind of come to that is because we all look at Bobby Heenan, our generation at least looks at Bobby Heenan as the greatest of all time in a role that Paul Heyman is now the greatest of all time at. And none of us are comfortable saying anyone's better than Bobby Heenan, because how can you be better than Bobby Heenan? So I think we'll stop comparing. And what we will say is Paul Heyman is the greatest of all time because not compared to anybody, just compared to himself, because Dangerous Alliance, Paulie Dangerously with the phone, Paulie Dangerously from ECW, that guy, right? Paul Heyman, the Advocate, Paul Heyman before he was the Advocate, who was the guy who was like the manager really for Brock Lesnar originally, right? Paul Heyman, the wise man, Paul Heyman, the best friend of CM Punk and what that character has been. And now this new version of what Paul Heyman has been able to create. Bobby Heenan, going back to comparing, what I will say is he had the Heenan family. That was it. Paul Heyman has managed to, and maybe this is an opportunity situation that Bobby never had or never needed or whatever the case might be, but Paul Heyman has been able to lead or be a part of so many different types of factions. That's so unique to have the same guy, but instead of, I mean, you think of things like the Four Horsemen, right? That was, oh, this guy's out, you know, Ole Anderson's out. Let's throw in Barry Windham. Barry Windham's out. Let's throw in Lex Luger. And I understand there was overlap, but my point is, it was this group where it was just like, oh, okay, now we'll throw in Malenko. Like, Paul Heyman is not going like, this is the Paul Heyman group, and oh, Reigns is out, Punk is out, here comes Seth Rollins. No, it's a whole new landscape, and I am so excited to see where that goes.
Do you think this at all? Yeah. Do you think this is at all? I don't think this way. I just know how the internet works, right? Like, I love Braun Breaker Braun Breaker is one of my favorite, if not my favorite on the roster right now, who's not named like Roman Reigns, right? Like, same guy, the guy I want to watch, his intensity, his look, his skill set, all of it, everything. It's just a step up for him, considering now he's going to take a back seat to any kind of title reign or anything like that, because to me, when he takes the fall, technically when he takes the fall on Saturday, which was a fantastic match, and I'm so happy that the crowd just came around on Dom Mysterio, which is
oh my god,
awesome.
that was amazing.
It's just so cool. It's so cool to see.
It was because you looked at this.
He didn't ask for it. It just happened organically, which is great.
He just never changed who he was, and he was just entertaining as all hell, and just it was finally like, okay, we
accept
get what this character has been. We love it. We love, you know, he's gonna go get his chicken tendies, his
nuggies. Yeah. So Braun drops the title there, and I'm like, okay, the next possible thing for Braun in my mind on that night was,
but Braun wasn't the one pinned, was he?
No, all I'm saying is he lost, right? He just lost the match, right? He's not he wasn't, in fact.
But I think that's important. He was not the one pinned.
Keep him strong, totally, right? But like, I'm thinking to myself, okay, the next thing for Braun is absolutely 1000% the chase for the World Heavyweight Championship with Jey Uso now, right? And it's not that. Is this a step back in character building, or is this going to build a better breaker? So for down the road, you're like, okay, this dude's next in line. Because what we're seeing here, if you take the three on the surface, you have Seth Rollins, the current, Braun Breaker, the future. You're starting to feel like this is a little bit of an evolution 2.0. Like, who's next to join the fray? Who is the next made guy? And then eventually, like what happened to Orton, he became a superstar, outshined the evolution thing, and did his own thing.
You mentioned.
Is it Randy? Is Braun Breaker the Randy Orton now? Like, is he's right there? Let's build him up a little bit more.
I think so, because I think another thing that WWE did over the last few years is you could have said, oh man, the Usos, they're they're the most decorated tag team. They're amazing. And then we see during the pandemic, we see Jey Uso with his feud with Roman. And you go, oh my God, look at the steam he's getting. And then all of a sudden, Jey Uso is just this lackey in the bloodline. Worked out well for him, right? Sometimes, I mean, just being, and then you also have to look on the other side of it. what we've heard so many times from Batista and from Randy Orton and guys like that, and then even, you know, even Triple H being able to work with Flair and stuff like that. There is the real side of Bron Breakker getting to be there and watch Seth Rollins and getting to learn from Paul Heyman on camera and behind the scenes. And like, so to me, this puts Bron Breakker in the next. He's not in his own segment anymore. He's now in the segment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a plus. I think WWE has earned in the last 5 years the goodwill back
trust
of the fans, the trust
yep.
to just go like, okay, this is going to be this. Let's do it. Let's sit back and enjoy. And I'm excited to see what happens there. I'm excited to see if more people join, but that's another thing when it comes to like The Rock, right? I look at it and I go, the best part of the Bloodline storyline was how long it lasted and how every time you thought you knew where it was going, something changed and it evolved and it evolved and it evolved. And now it's over for now. But that Bloodline storyline will never go back. It'll never be the Bloodline. Yeah.
You can always go back. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, I feel like that's where we are with this in the beginning. And people are going to be like, oh, Bron Breakker hasn't. And then you're going to fast forward. And like, I'll never forget that time I was watching with this guy that, you know, he was a friend of a friend, and we're watching WrestleMania together at one point. And it was the one where Chris Jericho fought AJ Styles and Jericho beat him. And he's like, they just buried Styles. They just killed his whole career. And I was like, what? He just lost to Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. You're telling me all the shit he did in TNA, all the titles he won in TNA equal walking down that ramp at WrestleMania? Like, you know, so like
you're painting the story of Joe Hendry, what just happened. Same shit.
Joe Hendry, for instance, I've seen people online. Oh yeah, real good for TNA. They just buried their champion. What? Dude, the TNA world champion has never been treated with more respect and never been treated as a bigger star than at WrestleMania Night 2. So we're going to jump back to that now. Dave,
and again, shout out to the production team and the camera shot that when they did the zoom in and all of a sudden Orton comes flying in with an RKO, that was perfect. So for anybody out there,
we're going to get to that. Let's start with the production of how it starts opening slowly and there's just this shadowed figure.
And at that point, still, when that door opens,
maybe it was Rusev.
I was clueless, and that was perfect because they had to have like ran through this a bunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it does lead you to believe that it's like you got to be careful with shit like that, like trying out music because there's always some goober in the back that's just like,
oh, I bet they never even played the music. I bet they never played it.
That's my assumption. And what's funny is, in the night
all they had to tell him was that all they had to do was practice it without him there and then say, Joe, you're going to stand right here. And when your music plays, you'll turn around.
And you know what I mean? Like, it was definitely out of 2 nights, I think it's a top 2 pop of the weekend. I've watched that clip like 48 times already. Like, it's so good and so
right there
captivating.
Next to the Boy Meets World clip on the
exactly. It's right next to the search history. But like that moment,
callback, folks.
that moment for Hendry, and look, you're not. And this is what I told the boys the entire time at Fight Factory. I said, has to be a heel. You would think, right? It has to be a heel because Randy Orton's a face. They got to bring in some badass and then have a good match. Yep. This was better than that. This was way better than that because that's Randy Orton. It's the facials that Randy Orton makes on his entrance was like, oh, interesting. Yeah, no, I heard of this guy. You know what I mean? Like, I heard of this guy. I heard about the buzz he's creating down at TNA. TNA has never gotten the chance to showcase their champion at WrestleMania, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
like, this is the biggest step
the
forward.
TNA World Champion just competed at WrestleMania.
Like, let that all sink in before you critique and before you say, oh, well, that fucking sucked for Hendry. No, it didn't. That was literally, and we He's a friend of the show. We had him on here. He's said what he's wanted. He's told us literally on this program that the dreams are so big that if something were to happen like this, it would make his world. I'm not sure if he mentioned Cena first, but I know that, like, think about it.
Wrestle Cena.
Think about the fact that a guy with a dream gets into wrestling, is now the TNA World Champion, and has the opportunity to tweet out afterwards, "Hey guys, all my followers and fans, I just wrestled Randy Orton at WrestleMania." That was the tweet. And to me, that's like, dude, that's it. That's the pinnacle. And again, will he be in the main event of WrestleMania one day? I have no idea. But what I will say is,
Triple H said to him, Triple H said at the press conference, he told him before he goes out there, enjoy it. You'll be back here again. And it just gets harder from here. Like, he's pretty much like, this is the easiest WrestleMania you're ever going to have, which is funny because it's also probably the most nerve-wracking experience of Joe Hendry's entire life.
I can only imagine what's going through his, because again, you have that worry of like, is anybody going to know who I am when my music hits? But they've built it so well down at TNA and NXT. You knew it when that music hit. The people were like, "Get the fuck out of here! No way!" Like, that's how I said. I literally out loud, music hits. My reaction with my kids, and I don't like cursing in front of my kids. I try very hard not to curse in front of my kids. One daughter, son, sitting next to me. The say his name thing happens. I said, "Get the fuck out of here!" I was so happy for the guy, and I was like, "This is going to be great." And in my mind, never did I once say, "Oh, I mean, he has to win, right?" Like, no, I knew right away this was a moment that he was created for him.
I also think coming off of what Orton was doing, and I think Triple H
mentioned this too. He went from angry to like, okay, let's.
This is what we needed. This is what we needed.
Right.
Orton could just have a fun WrestleMania and all, because you can't plug someone else into that, and that has to cool down. And we'll get, now we're getting Orton and Cena, so it was kind of a great.
Oh, those promos are going to be great.
Palate cleanser, right? For this, I think Joe Hendry doing the way he turned around, did his thing, and got caught with that RKO, as you mentioned before. And then Orton doing his turnaround into his pose with it. That put Joe Hendry over so much. And that's what people sometimes I feel like they just don't understand how much that put over Joe Hendry. The fact that he got RKO'd off of his spin around. I mean, it was huge. And it was,
perfect, bro. It was perfect. Yeah. And anybody saying different just doesn't understand. And again, to your first point about all this, what did you want? Did you want Randy? Because if it would have went the other way, let's just pretend arbitrarily that fucking Joe Hendry gets a win. How would people react to that? I can't believe they let Joe Hendry, a TNA guy, pin Randy Orton at WrestleMania. You would have not been happy either way. Like, you're set in your ways. It's annoying. It's nauseating. People just suck. I've dealt with so many bullshit this even yesterday. This is not like a sidebar, but like yesterday, social media took me down. There was a couple comments that were dropped on Twitter where I was like,
"You need to get off of social media."
I do, and but the problem is that's my job, dude. It's my job.
I know. You would not even know that I am alive anymore if I did not have a job.
You don't even collaborate with me anymore. It like takes you 3
days. You know what? And I try to. I'm not on social media unless I am specifically looking for something, like when I'm trying to find for like So Says Shernoff or something, when I'm like, okay, I need to know what's going on. I need to like look up some news so I can talk about it right after certain events, or to post something. But when I'm posting something, it's something that I've done that I'm putting out there. And then I hate social media because of that, because there's no honest, good discourse on there.
Because I'll give you an example of what happened. Like, Brett Lauderdale went out there and thanked everybody for the incredible week, from the talent to the production to just all this good shit. And then some goober came out there and said, "You're no longer independent once you take money from the Fed." And if you say the Fed, you're a fucking toolbox. But I'm telling you right now.
Thank you. If I may, the first commentary job I had, this guy goes to me, he's like, It's like, oh, you used to, getting the feedback in the ear. And I'm like, no, I've never done commentary before. I've never. He's like, oh, well, you need to get it. You need to be able to get, deal with that, or you're never going to be able to work for the Fed. And I instantly was like, oh, fuck, this is what I've signed up for.
Oh yeah.
Fun fact: no one was in my ear when I worked for that company. But when you call it the Fed,
you've already lost all.
You've told me everything.
Exactly.
I need to know.
So all I said in that was somebody who's like, oh, you're not no longer last outlaw, kind of wrestling. You're not the last outlaw anymore. You sold out. You fucking took money from the Fed. All I said, I swear to God, all I said was, you couldn't be more wrong. That was it. Yeah. And the comment after that was, blah, 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 you fat fuck, right? And then it was blah, 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 your kids are ugly. I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, what happened to people? What happened to people somewhere along the way?
You know what happened to people? They all got big balls because they're sitting behind a keyboard. They all, and I saw your thing and I second that everybody should have to have their exact address where they're posting from. Yeah. Because people want to get on there, they want to talk shit. They'll never say it to your face. And it's just kidding. This is just the way. And one of the things I am going to delve into this on So Says Shernoff, because it was a comment somebody made towards Charlotte Flair and the work she's had done and like tagging her in it, like the work on her face and stuff. Dude, like I get when you're a public figure, like you're bringing this on, and that's to some extent, you're bringing that on when you engage with one of these idiots on social media. You have to be prepared. And it's part of why I sometimes choose not to engage, is because I know they're going to say something back that's going to get me hot. And then where is this ending? Where's it going to end? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so to me, I look at these people and I just am reminded of, everyone. First of all, GCW is not taking any money from the Fed.
Zero.
But regardless of that, you're going to tell me this guy, first of all, I'd love to see what his pro wrestling company is doing. And then I would also love to see him.
The default picture was a solar eclipse. So, you got to.
Sure. And I'd love to see what I'd love to see him turn down money from the Fed. And like, it's just like, man, just,
jump off a cliff at this point, and just head first. Make sure it really does its job. Anyway,
this world is doomed.
It is. It really is.
But in the meantime, while the world is crumbling to pieces because of social media, and I believe you can trace 99.99% of everything bad happening in the world right now. You can trace it back to social media.
100%.
Because we as a race cannot have nice things. So regardless though, WrestleMania to me, what I love about it is it's the culmination of the year. And then we kick it off and we're up and running again. Saw Triple H put out that thing where he was like, clear, we're done. And then the papers.
Script. Yeah.
That's it. That's the like, oh, well, that was the off season. And I just, it's one of the things we love about pro wrestling. It's, you mentioned my flying here and there and everywhere. And I will by the time Sunday rolls around, I will have been on 8 flights in 15 days. And to me,
is it for you, Josh? Is it for you? Is that lifestyle for you? Like if it turned around and Triple H hit me up and hit you up and said, hey, we got this role for you, and I think it's perfect. Could you do the travel that these guys do? Because you're getting close in this last 2 weeks. Yeah, you're getting close.
I will say I loved it. Did I love being on the planes? Yes and no, because I will say there have been some TV shows like Severance that I've really wanted to check out, and I don't have time to watch television. Like I can watch like a show a night maybe with my wife, and that's like a show we're watching together, right? So yeah, in some regards that was kind of cool because I had some like time to myself. Hated being away from my kids, I never liked that, but I was very fortunate. I love I love being able to be a part of the business. And I will say, sitting there at the collective, I did have a little, if I'm being completely transparent, there was a little part of me that kind of sat there, as happy as I was to be there for Triller and for Triller TV and doing that stuff that I hadn't done in a while. Getting to see, old friends and stuff, that the GoPro guys, always great to see GPW Productions. Got to spend some time with my buddy Hornswoggle, which was nice. It's been a while since I got to hang with him, and even a friend of ours, Killer Cross. Got to spend some time with Killer Cross, which was awesome.
I'd like to touch on that before we get out of here. But
yeah, we will. But what I will say is there was part of me that was sitting there, and shout out to the commentary crew for GCW and for all the shows there. What I'm saying is not knocking them whatsoever. I will tell you, I have firsthand experience seeing the notes that they were taking backstage before going. Like these were not people just sitting down and phoning it in. These were people who were professionals and taking their job very seriously. So what I'm about to say had nothing to do with their quality. This is not me going, I'm better, I should be, whatever. But there was a part of me that was sitting there going, I'm here. Tag me in. You don't even have to pay me anything. I'm already here. And look, I had another job to do, so it was what it was. But there was a part of me that looked at it and said, like, I wish I was doing this more consistently. I wish I was on the road more. I wish I was doing commentary. I wish I was out managing more. Now, in practice, would I be like, dude, I'm exhausted? Probably. But I enjoyed what I was doing. But my real passion, as is that commentary and managing and creative and stuff like that. So there's other aspects that I would rather be doing.
You've got yourself in a situation where you are, and this is and Bowens, please do not sue us. You are a 5-tool player in professional wrestling. You could do a lot of different things, and a lot of different things well. A lot of people are like, this guy's got great promo work, but when he's in the ring, he stinks, right? Josh, not to fucking blow smoke up your ass, but like, your commentary, your managing, your interviews, like the interview you did with the names were missing me, the doll, right? Like, shit like that. Like it does separate you from the rest. And I feel like next year,
thank you.
Goals upon goals for next year. Like, I want Fight Factory Wrestling to be part of the collective. I do. I want you and I to at least talk to Lauderdale and say, listen, you got like 15 shows lined up in a matter of 3 days. Can me and Josh call one of them? Like, one of them. We're going to be there, right? Well, God willing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things where you want these opportunities. They're not going to just be handed to you. You have to earn them. You have to do good business with everybody that you come across, right? We're out here praying that things like Triller TV Talk gets, picked up for a nice long run. Or, in my mind, I think maybe they have their A team in place now. You and I are their A team. So when they need us, we're there. You know what I mean? Like we could be there for them. But yeah, bravo to everything you did out there. And before we get out of here,
I appreciate it.
No, it's awesome. It's and what's funny? Normally I would go into these things and I would see certain people out there and I'd be like, come on, man. I could be out there. I could have been doing a better job. You know what I mean? And have that mentality. But watching you and watching the guys that I know that are out there, GPW and everything like that, Lauderdale and GCW, and just watch, I had a very, very, very big sense of pride watching my friends succeed. And that should be the way you carry yourself in the business. But unfortunately,
no, it should be that way. And I appreciate that. And it's one of those things where I think the healthier way to be is what you're saying there, which is kind of how I felt, which was there had been times in my career where I would sit there and be like, oh, I can't believe they have this guy on commentary. Why not me? Why not me and Dave? Right. Why not, because I still do believe that you and I are, one of the, if not the best duo on commentary out there today. But I looked at it and I didn't feel any jealousy of like, man, it should be us instead of. It made me just feel like, okay, we'll get there. That's a goal, and that's fun too. Like, I had a lot of times in my career where I felt like had like stalled out almost of like, okay, like this is fun. Like I like doing this, but now what? What do I do next? And that kind of led me in some at different times to, to leave. It was one of the reasons to leave fight when I did, was like, okay, I need I need a challenge. And now I kind of feel like that is something that's in my mind of like, I loved what I did and would do it again next WrestleMania. If Triller wanted to have us out there again, I would love to be out there doing the same thing I did. But I also want to do more. I also want to do, I want to be managing at the Collective next year. I want to be doing commentary at the Collective. These are goals that I have, for myself and for you as well. So but I think it's good. Everybody there just killed it. Everyone did an amazing job. Shout out to Wade Barrett. I talked to him yesterday. Talk about pride, man. I was so proud of him to be able to do this. Look, it's so funny to think like, here's a guy who wrestled. He was Intercontinental Champion at a WrestleMania. Like this isn't, it's not like this dude's never walked that aisle before, but to now be able to do it in this role, which is harder in a lot of ways than wrestling. And I think he crushed it. He did an amazing job.
And maybe, hey, listen, maybe if you still got any left in the tank, right? Go avenge McAfee and Cole, bro. Go avenge them. Go avenge them. We'll see. But before we get out of here, I have to touch on this. I know we're running a little over on this, but this is the season finale of the Wrestling Hour. So if you like what you've seen and heard, chances are we'll be back sooner rather than later. But we do have to take some time to rebuild and boost MyFandom app and just have a really good, zero in on some of the stuff that we want to continue to build. But Killer Cross, Karrion Kross, whatever you want to consider him at this point, that interview was his Triple H Jim Ross moment. That was the interview that he needed. That was the interview that we all wanted to see. And what he was able to do, they said, hey, open mic, go do your thing. Go. Like, there's no direction. Go. Tell me how you're feeling right now. It's more like the pipe bomb from Punk. These are the things. Go air your grievances, get it out of your system, because once that's over, it's game time. Like, it's really game time. So when I saw that being delivered, even the facials from Scarlett, like, dude, no.
She's like putting her hand on him, like, all right.
Yeah, like, no, don't say that. You're gonna get crushed here. And he just kept going and going and going. And yeah, for WrestleMania to be in his backyard and for him to just show face for about 4 seconds, where he was trying to get AJ Styles to just use some brass knucks and save the business, bro. Because
come on, Alan.
Come on. Yeah. Let's not let Logan Paul take over the wrestling business. Let's make sure we're still the alphas of this company. Didn't do it, pissed him off, right? And you're seeing it now. Now that interview with Sam Roberts on that the podcast after Mania or whatever, it really did do everything that we wanted, because I've been tweeting every week nonstop. And this isn't to just kiss his ass, because I know Karrion Kross just like him. I've seen him. I've traveled to Alaska with him, saw him get married. Well, I wasn't there, but we were in Alaska at the same time when he got married to Scarlett. He got married on a fucking glacier during a trip out to Alaska. So like, I was there. I was literally in Alaska for it. So, but I will say, as I'm frozen right now, and I'm probably getting a call, but I really do appreciate everything that this dude does, because on the interim and on the grandest stages of them all, where the voices will be like, his voice will carry, his voice and his reasoning behind all of this will resonate with everybody who might be feeling this way. The dude looks like $1 million. He strikes like $1 million. He has $1 million manager who looks the part and is very appealing to the eyes of the wrestling fan. Everything that this dude has in his arsenal is going to set him up for the biggest run of his career, and I believe it just started. So that's my
and I do want to just say from a conversation he and I had at Bloodsport in the locker room, to any fan who is championing him on social media, he sees it and he appreciates it.
Mostly from me.
He very what's that?
It's mostly from me. Every week I'm like, yo, Karrion Kross fucking killed that.
But he sees it and he hears it, and you got that from the promo that he gave with Sam Roberts. But like, Shout out to Sam Roberts, who's just killing it as well. Love to see it. Yeah, carrying crossing, even calling himself Killer Cross at the end. Like, man, he is just I think his being left off the card is one of those things that's going to be the best thing that ever happened to him.
Absolutely.
I think we're going to look back at that, just like you said, the student of the game. I am the fucking game, JR.
Mm-hmm.
This was that. And I think he's
guy in the back with the suit and tie, go fuck yourself. Like, he literally, all bets were off. It was great.
He is going to be a massive star, I believe.
Yeah, this is not just a prediction, it's a spoiler. So listen, it has been a very, very fun way to recap. There's stuff we didn't touch on. Obviously, there's so many matches, so many important, great WrestleMania moments. We got new tag champs, we got a new Intercontinental champ, we got women's champions, we got Becky Lynch came back. And there's so much shit that we could have dove into that we can't just squeeze in an hour. So just look for us to make a little bit of a comeback ski in the coming weeks. Again, we're very.
I will say, I think you're probably going to get, and I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if while we're off on our break, we're still doing some specials, maybe the pre-shows, getting back to that, because that got really good responses over on ad-free shows and MyFandom YouTube. So I think, this is not the end of us. And if you saw anything from season 1, we took a little break. We came back with season 2 with a whole new direction of the show. And I think, we want season 3 to be even better and even bigger, do even more. I think the Wrestling Hour brand has a lot of legs to it. And I'm excited to kind of see how we can build this to be just a little more than just a show that Dave and I do once a week. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure.
We're gonna see what we can do.
It's been awesome. I hope everybody enjoyed WrestleMania as best as you could. Like Triple H tells you all the time, just be a fan, not a critic. Just watch, enjoy. It's pro wrestling. It's as big as it's ever going to be, if not bigger. If not bigger, guys. It's going to grow. It's going to continue to grow under the Triple H banner. Like this show, the Wrestling Hour will continue to grow under the Wrestling Hour banner. So thank you guys for watching this season of the Wrestling Hour. Dave Sturchio, Josh Shernoff. We will see you guys again in just a few weeks.